boy, Chappie.
He stays hot. Chapman got all of this one. His second home run of the ball game.
It's his first multi-home run game of the season.
Springer sends one right center field. Looked like he hurt himself on the swing.
And the Blue Jays take the opening game of the series by a score of 5-3.
Hopefully starting another win streak are the Toronto Blue Jays thanks to that 5-3 win over the Detroit Tigers. And the question coming in was about Yusei Kikuchi. Had he figured anything out in the time off and through his rehab start?
Yeah,
at least for one night, he looked pretty good, Ivanka.
Exactly. Chapman having a big game as well and acknowledging the bullpen, which is nice. And we also saw some giggles. I know Dan Shulman wanted someone to ask John Schneider about Alejandro Kirk trying to steal second and what happened there, because there were a few giggles, but also the status of George Springer. So here is the manager.
Did you consider, John, keeping Kikuchi in longer than 5 innings, or were you satisfied with how far you went?
Considered it, yeah. Just wanted him to have a good outing. It was kind of a long layoff for him anyway, and I think both for his psyche going forward and with how good our bullpen's been, and just with the one rehab outing in Buffalo, it was a good time to get him out.
Hey, loud. Just more on Kikuchi. I mean, what did you like from what you saw from him, especially like the delivery, like we were talking about before?
He was great. I mean, credit to him, credit to Pete, Bush. Made some adjustments, threw a ton of strikes, kind of got better as he went on. It was just really impressive to go out there, and I mean, he just filled it up. So I thought his pitch mix was great with Jano, and he gave us exactly what we needed. So it was awesome to see.
And just on that play in shallow left with obviously the 3 guys coming together, what was your read on that play? And was that something that prompted a conversation from you after, or how did you handle that situation?
I mean, ask Bo if he called it and if he heard Gurry, and they both kind of called it. It was weird. It's just outfielder has priority over an infielder at that time, and they were both going for it, and it was almost too late for Bo to bail. So it was loud. I think Chappie heard Bo at the very end, and Bo heard Gurry at the very end, and it was just one of those really kind of tweener plays.
In the third inning there, with Kirk running, you're already laughing. With Kirk running for second, was that the hit and run, or did he do that on his own?
No, that was. I trust Mark Budzinski with everything that I own, and we're just trying to take advantage of any little situation, and I think he actually would have been safe. I think he was watching Pujols last night, try to steal a bag too. So a little inspiration from a Hall of Famer.
So that was something then that Mark would have seen from the pitcher or the catcher and just said, hey, we got a chance?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he was dropping 1.6, 1.7s to the plate, and obviously not many people pay attention to Kirky. And again, you know, we want to take advantage of every little possibility to get an extra run. So I was good with it.
I guess, how's George Springer feeling after leaving the game?
He's feeling good. He really is. It was, you know, he's been grinding a little bit. We all know that, but he kind of had a high-impact game, dive and catch, couple huge throws that kept runners where they should late in the game. It's just a little bit of elbow discomfort. It probably looked worse than it is right now, but we'll check him out tomorrow and see how he is.
John, just back to quick question on Kikuchi. The slider had a lot more vertical break this year than typical. Was that the kind of movement you guys were looking out of that slider? Is that the shape of slider you wanted to get to?
Yep. I think the velo was good, the break was good on it, and I think it just played well off of his fastball and a split. So threw it at the right time, and you know, again, I think Jano steered him in a very good direction tonight, and he executed. He was great.
Hey, John, on the bunt with Espinal, I know you're trying to get an extra run there. Did you take it off 3-0, put it back on 3-1?
Yeah, took it off 3-0. It wasn't a whole lot of strikes being thrown, so confident that Espy can get it down in a 3-1 count. He would have swung away 3-2 if it got to that point, but he puts in the work. He's prepared for it, and you know, he handles the bat in any situation. So good job by him.
Something we hadn't seen him do a lot up here. Was it something that he'd been able to do for you way back when?
Yeah, I mean, he can do it. You know, in the minor leagues, you don't ask too many guys to bunt when they're pretty good players, but confident in the work that he does to maintain that skill, and just confident that he would get it down in that spot.
Hey, John.
Chapman once again, display of
Stud.
power there. How common are these becoming, and what did you see from him tonight?
He's been, I mean, it's so funny because the first half of his year was kind of unlucky. He's hitting the ball extremely hard. The work, the patience, the approach, really can't say enough. I think it's 17 RBIs in his last 17 games, and he makes an impact on both sides of the ball. He's a great player and was huge tonight.
Talked a little bit about making adjustments mechanically at the plate, but like you said, it has been a little bit of bad luck too. Where's the balance in that, in making the adjustments, but also understanding that the swing is pretty good and maybe the ball just isn't going where it's supposed to go?
Yeah, that's hard. When you're playing every day and you're grinding and you're not finding any luck, but it's a credit to him as a person, him as a player, and him as a pro. It's when you're not seeing the results, it's easy to kind of abort mission and say, I want to try something else, but he didn't. The work has been great. The work has been consistent. And I think when you're a player like him, you can just have confidence in the results being there.
After the fifth innings, I saw you were talking with Kikuchi, and what did you tell him, and what was his response?
He came in and he told me he was hungry for more, which is awesome. And I told him, outstanding job, and use this as a springboard going forward. And we're going to need these kind of outings from him going forward for us to get to where we want to go. So he was great about it and understood that it was one outing, after a little bit of a layoff. And we're looking for more of the same going forward from him.
Well, certainly encouraging news John Schneider had on George Springer, saying he's feeling good and they will check in with him tomorrow. Okay, now for our Juan Soto talk, because you knew this was coming in the show. It's not a matter of if, but when Soto will be traded. And even the when part is a given because, well, it will happen by the trade deadline on Tuesday, August 2nd. So when you have an uber talent like the 23-year-old, it's captain obvious to say every team is interested. But there are only a dozen or so teams that actually have the pieces that could satisfy the Nationals' needs, and it makes sense for them as well. The Padres, they're emerging as the front runner, and what a fun lineup to imagine with Tatis and Machado and Soto. But maybe he shouldn't pack his bags for San Diego quite yet.
The Padres are in the mix here. There's no question about it. They want Juan Soto. They should want Juan Soto. Everyone should want Juan Soto because he's one of the best hitters in baseball. But the idea that the Padres have separated themselves at this point, I just have no evidence to support that. Listen, maybe it's true. It's a possibility. But everyone with whom I've spoken believes this is going to be much more of an August 1st, August 2nd deal than right now. Unless the Padres have gotten scared off by another team, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Los Angeles Dodgers, I think, are a real threat here. The idea that they're going to jump at what has been an exorbitant asking price by the Washington Nationals this early in the process just doesn't hold a lot of water.
Meanwhile, members of Parliament